Good day and welcome to this lucky 13th episode of starting a new plot. The time feels right to crack on with the tomato bed, and that's why it's lucky 13th. It's just been looking at me. It's been the bane of my eyesight for so long, and it will continue to be for a while yet, because even though I'm going to roll back the banners and start work, I won't be removing the banners fully because we're due some rain and I don't want rain to saturate the soil underneath. By having the banners there, we're keeping some rain off. But yes, finally, I'm cracking on with the tomato vinyl bed. As you may know, if you've been watching us regularly, the reason that this bed hasn't been done before is because when we got this half of the plot back in October 2019, we weren't able to crack on with the plot till the end of December, beginning of January. And by the time we had all the beds and everything else in, we didn't have time to crack on with that bed or the large bed at the front. So we covered it in a banner, and we grew tomatoes on top of it last year in grow bags, which is why I call it the tomato vinyl bed. Let me just swing you around so that you can see what I'm talking about. I think you know anyway. The infamous tomato vinyl bed. So what I'm going to do is move the structures here off to the side. I think I'll just put them off here for the moment. Clear everything off, and then I'm going to roll back the banners, and then we can see what the ground looks like underneath them. So we can certainly see the edge of the vinyl. If we come down here, what we can also see is this couch grass. Yeah, plenty of couch grass. There's bindweed roots here. Couple of worms, a dandelion, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to, but I mean, you know, this grass is clearly still growing in here. That's bindweed, lots of bindweed. But you know what? Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's not. I think I'm going to pull this line tight. In fact, let me just do that. If I pull here, that's pulled the line pretty tight so we can see the edge of the bed. And I think this is going to be where we go up to, about a foot from the bottom of that bin. Yeah. Let me remove all of the banner. I think that's the best thing to do. That's the banner removed, and the outline of the green vinyl rope is the bed. And yeah, I think I'm gonna pull it up to about a foot away from here. Yeah. Right, let's crack on. So I've just sliced with a spade all the way down here, and then I'm making my way along the inside of the vinyl rope, which is the edge of our bed. Once I've done the slicing all the way around, I'll then be putting the spade away and getting the fork out. Basically, by doing this, what I'm doing is putting an absolute edge along here, about, well, it's a spade's depth deep. So I've now been around the perimeter, around the edge, with the spade, going a spade's depth as much as I can into the soil. Along here, it feels quite rubbly and pebbly, so I haven't been able to get in too far. In fact, in this area just here, haven't been able to go any depth at all. So I'm wondering if there's a pile of rubble or stones under there. But of course, the forking will clarify exactly what's under there. But I am going to start from the bottom up in the forking. I'm also again thinking about the width of this bed, which is why I've left these as they are at the moment, and whether I do bring this out just a bit more. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. But the best thing for me to do now is to crack on with the fork and have a look at what the ground is like underneath this. Wow. Oh, just one fork. Oh my, look at the size of those. So this is just bindweed. Look at that. And then we've got couch grass, like we saw in the flower border bed. Yeah. You know what? It's exactly what I imagined. When I saw the soil, that's Cinquefoil root. When I saw the top of the soil, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be wrong. Yeah, this is going to look plastic. Need to keep that separate. I mean, the soil itself, it looks gorgeous soil, plastic, plastic, plastic. But the soil itself looks rather good. Oh, if it wasn't for all these, look at that bit. Oh. Well, it could be worse. But you know what? The good thing is, I absolutely know what I have to deal with now, so I can sort of start thinking about what needs to be done. Look, bit of old metal there. That looks like a fork prong. I tell you what I do need: a bucket for plastics, one for weeds, and one for plastics like that, and like this, and like this. Even there, look. Right, I was thinking overnight, and I've decided to extend this bed out. You'll see this is where I put the spade down yesterday, and I've decided to extend this out by another, what's that, 20 centimeters, and then obviously 20 centimeters at that end, and then move these in by about 20 centimeters too. I haven't fully measured these, so I think that one might be a bit wider than this one. But what I want more than knowing that's exactly the same width is a straight line going down here that is parallel with this line here. So that is going to be my task for another day when I do these beds. But at the moment, my task is, having done this spade spits depth cut yesterday, I'm now going to extend it out to this line here. Yeah, I'm happy about that. It's good to make changes and be flexible, particularly as you go along. You know, I was absolutely sure that this was going to be the edge yesterday, and for the past month, 6 weeks. But in pulling these back, these banners back, in looking at this, in knowing what type of path I want here, because of course these are going to be ground beds, yeah, I've changed my mind. We can all change our minds. The good thing, or the best thing, is to change your mind when it's easiest to change your mind. You know, I mean, if I'd done all of this bed, I'd done this bed, set everything in stone, and then just looked at it and gone, hang on, I should have extended that out. That would have been additional work, where now My only real additional work is a spade spit deep here, cut and recutting this line. So that's what I'm going to get on and do. So when I was doing the bit with pushing the spade down, there were areas where I couldn't get the spade down at all. And I've now realised, not sure if you can see, that there's a metal drum or something here. And inside it, plastic bags. Of course, the issue is I don't know what's inside the plastic bags. You know what I mean, the simple thing to do, there's bits of plastic cable there. The simple thing to do is just to go, you know what, I'll only take the bed up to there, move this line back to here. But also I don't know what, you know, I don't want to leave all this plastic in the soil either. So I'm going to have a go at getting it out. I mean, I want this plastic out for sure, but you know, I mean, I literally have no idea what is in there. There's a bit of glass, look. So I'm going to get different gloves. These are great gloves, but quite thin. So I'm going to get different thicker gloves and come back tomorrow and have another go at it. I've got a feeling that these are full of plastic and somebody has buried this drum with this plastic. I think the best thing to do is to just find out what this is. I mean, if this circle here, it seems to, you know, it feels to me, there's a bit of plastic, look. Oh, it's a CD. Oh God, I'm not sure if you can see that, but yeah, I'm going to come back and look at it tomorrow. It's about 5 o'clock now and I've done a relatively good day's work. Let me just show you what I have done. I've come this way because the sun is behind us and from the other side you just can't see because we're glaring into the sun. But I've done about a third of the area, forked over about a third of the area, maybe just under a third of the area. And the bucket at the top here, where my finger is in the middle, one full one of those all pressed down has already gone into the perennial weed compost bin. And we've already got a whole bucket of plastic and glass and metal. I don't know how much it weighs, but certainly quite a few kilos of just, you know, yeah, plastic, metal, just junk out of here so far. And that's just on one forking over. You know, I'll need to do another forking over of the whole bed, or this whole area. So there's certainly, you know, a good few days solid work on this, which I'll do over the next week. But for the time being, I'm going to just sign off and have a look at this bit up here with that drum and all that plastic tomorrow, when I've got some better gloves, some more robust gloves. In the meantime, I'm just going to drag this banner back over. We're not having any rain, so I think I may just take that banner up tomorrow, but I'm just going to drag it over for the time being. I slept on this and decided to investigate that barrel which comes up to this line. This was the corner that we had, so the barrel is sort of around this area here, just under 2 feet across. With pretty thick gloves, I investigated what was inside the barrel, and there was loads of black plastic bags full of plastic junk and some bones. So I've decided I'm not going to use this area here as a growing area. So I've taken the corner in from here to here, and then I'll most probably lay slabs along the whole length of here and move my blueberries, which are in tubs of ericaceous compost. I'll move those over and have them as a blueberry hedge going along here. It makes sense to do that. And if I want to, I went down about 1.5 foot on the other side of this, the outline, as you can see, of this oil drum or whatever it is. I went down 1.5 foot on the other side, and the oil drum continued down. It's been buried vertically in the ground, so it may go down another 6 inches, it may go down another 2 feet. I really don't know. So I'm not going to spend my energy doing that. I'm going to spend my energy sorting out this growing area, which I can use. Hopefully I won't find any other surprises under that soil. So in one way, it's a good thing we took this additional 20 centimeters here. Let me just move you up a bit. It's a good thing we took this extra 20 centimeters here, because we've lost about 25 centimeters times 2 meters at this side. But as I say, I'm going to use it as a growing area for blueberries, so that will be okay. But we've gained, what have we gained? That's about 20 centimeters by 5.5 meters. So we've gained more by extending the bed out than we would have had otherwise. So now I'm going to crack on and start forking over this bit here. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is the spade work. Right, sort of 3/4 of the way through, though this edge down the right has got a lot more growth in it than the rest of the bed, or green growth at least. About 4.5 hours so far, maybe 5 hours I think, but I just want to show you the joys that you do get when doing this type of job. Look at all that plastic bag, and look where it is in this soil. I wasn't digging this, all this plastic would stay in, which obviously I don't want. You can see how it just breaks up over time. So this is after about 5 hours of forking and weeding. I started at the top here, came down, did a second row, a third row, and I just carried on with the forking and the weeding, going all the way down. And then when I had completed that, I then did exactly the same thing again to make sure that I got as many weeds out as I possibly could, and also plastic and other rubbish. There was so much detritus in this bed, I was astonished. I mean, putting aside this oil drum here, which was filled with rubbish. So I then, as you saw me do right at the end, I was then leveling this off with the back of my rake. So not with the prongs of the rake, but with the back of my rake, because I find that when I fork things over, I often leave sort of piles, not big piles, but maybe sort of 6-inch piles here and there. So I've leveled this off. It's not perfect. If I wanted to make it perfect, I would rake it, and I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm in two minds at the moment whether I'm going to cover this in cardboard to suppress weed germination, or whether I will just let the weeds germinate and then hoe them off when they do. I obviously will be giving it a good weed again, whatever I do. So it will need further weeding. I'm sure there's more bindweed bits in here and more Cinquefoil, but you know what? This is a really, really good start. I'm not going to be planting into this until potentially the beginning of June, maybe mid-May to the beginning of June, because this is going to be our tomato bed again. I'm going to put a path down the middle, just about 20-25 centimeters wide, like a scaffold wide or thin scaffold wide, and then I'll end up with two beds which are about 1 meter wide, and I will do tomatoes down each side, and then in the middle of each 4 tomatoes I'll put another tomato. But that's the plan at the moment. I will be putting chicken manure pellets on here, and I will also be doing a soil test sometime soon to determine exactly how nutritious this soil is. But you know what? Let's have a quick look at it, because the soil is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the soil. Though, as I say, there's still bits and pieces in here. Plastic, a few weeds, you know, bits and pieces. Over the coming year, more of those bits and pieces will be coming out. So the soil is pretty good, you know. But look, another bit of plastic. Yeah, it's not too bad. There's another bit of glass. There's quite a lot of moisture retention in there. there's a little bit of clay I found when I was digging yesterday, but when I do this, you can see that to dry a bit, it is just crumbling. So I don't have too much clay in there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how nutritious this soil is. Another bit of Cinquefoil root. However much you get out, you sort of never get everything out. I think we got about 5 tubs of junk, plastic bags, really thick plastic bags as well. These are bits of ceramic tile. Obviously you always get bits of metal, and some corrugated plastic too. I found this trowel, perfectly usable trowel, that was about 1 foot deep. And then in this bucket over here is just loads of bindweed and Cinquefoil, mainly bindweed and couch grass, but also some Cinquefoil and nettle. And you can see some of the bindweed was really thick. But you know what, that was to be expected. The ground hadn't been worked for many a year. So in some ways we got away okay. I think it was about 6 buckets of perennial weed roots and 5 buckets of detritus. As I've said, there's still some left of roots and detritus, but we'll work those out over the coming months and years of growing. We're looking at this from the other side now because the sun is so low that filming from the other side doesn't work. But as you can see, this bed is now sorted and I'm just so pleased to get this done. There's still a few more beds to do and we'll crack on with those in a week or so's time. And we've also got the wildlife pond to put in, which may be a standalone video or may sit in a week at the plot. But there we are. That's it for the 13th episode of Starting a New Plot. I hope you've understood and liked what I have done. If you do have any comments, please let me know, and any questions, put them below. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks for another episode of Starting a New Plot. Bye.